Hello and welcome to the UTB Blogcast number 62. It's Erica and I'm back after a little break. And with me tonight is Dave, Brad, and Roy. Say hello, boys.
Hello, boys.
What's going on?
We're going to start off talking tonight about the ads that we've seen popping up on the front of newspapers. And Brad's busy doing his own thing over there. So, Roy, why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about those ads that are happening out there?
Okay, and BlackBerry started to advertise in financial and newspaper, financial media about the software change. We saw it on the social media before. That software is the new BlackBerry, and now it's in advertising to all the financial magazines. It's about to say to every company, every enterprise, every businessman that BlackBerry is now a software company, and they mentioned the Gartner score that a 6 out of 6. BlackBerry is a top software company, and the one all the important world to know about it.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about that, Roy, is that a long-standing observation or a complaint or whatever you want to call it from a bunch of people is that BlackBerry doesn't advertise anything that they do, really. Sometimes they react to a story and straighten it out or whatever, but they're not really advertising in a proactive manner. So here we have, I think it was Marty Beard stating, well, here we are. We've taken out front page, not full page, but front page, top level banner type ads on, I think it was the Wall Street Journal and Financial Times, or I'm going to get that wrong. Probably already did. But anyway, very well known and highly respected print publishing papers, and explaining about exactly what you just said. And another interesting point in that is that he said, this is the start, and it's absolutely not going to be the end. So look out, watch the space, kind of thing, because they're going to ramp up and start to do more. So I thought that was a positive thing to see and hear, and I'm looking forward to whatever they have next. Lord only knows if they're going to be able to do the same thing when it comes to the next handset kind of thing. Not sure, but if their thrust, at least initially, is the software side of the company, which doesn't really surprise me because that's what they've stated the thrust is in general, then it's a good thing to see, and I can't wait for them to expand upon it. And it sounds like somebody's jumping out of an airplane. Did you just open the window, Alpha? What'd you do, man?
Let's just hope that's the window. Not lunch.
Hi, Alpha.
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome aboard.
Thanks,
But yeah, the only thing I want to say about about where they're advertising is because it's been a big complaint for so long about BlackBerry not advertising. And my whole point has been, why waste the money? It's like, of course I want to see the advertising. I want to see them, do a media frenzy. But the minute they spent all of their money on advertising, it would be like, the final bid on Jeopardy. You would have Apple and Samsung come out and spend $1 more and just completely wipe any BlackBerry advertising off. But if you look at where they're advertising now, they're pointing this directly at those places that are sitting there and consistently saying BlackBerry's dead, right? These are the financial places where let's put it politely, where the stock manipulation is taking place. So by advertising there, they're not just advertising, but they're advertising to the people that have been attacking them, right?
Well, they're using their same space.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's like Trump supporters being on the Hillary bus. Whatever. Occupy the space, man. Stick it in their face. Do it. It's all good. And there's still enough business in the New York cities, where these papers are created and pointed at, the Wall Street people, whatever. They've probably got a BlackBerry in their hand, whether it was their choice or not. So I don't see a problem with this target. It wasn't chosen on a whim.
Right.
I agree. I think that
Or I did it again. I was going to say I cut you off, Alpha. Go for it. Just tell me to shut up. Talk.
all right. I agree. I think that where they're targeting their ads at and where they're advertising, I think it's a good idea. They're hitting the places like Dave mentioned that said that they're dead. And they're letting people know, hey, we're not dead. We're here. We're alive. Look at all these accolades that we're getting, and you really need to get on the ball and join in on it. I for one am a fan of it. So I think it's a great idea for them to do this.
Yeah, especially if Marty Beard is true to what he's saying. I have no reason to doubt him. It's just the beginning.
Yes, absolutely. If this is just a one-off, then it was a waste of money. If they're going to continue to do it and we're going to continue to see these ads, then it's definitely a good thing.
Yep.
I thought that was going to be a go around,
Yep. No.
No, we just let it quit with you, Brad, so it can be awkward.
You guys would suck at a sporting event. Me and Dave would do the wave and then it would just stop.
Yeah, right. See ya. What a hoser.
All right, well, even though BlackBerry has now officially announced their software, there's still devices out there. So let's talk about the next device that's coming out for BlackBerry.
Like last month, every media site in the world said that BlackBerry is exiting the hardware, and I think next week or in the next 2 weeks we will see the next outsourcing device, and in the early of 2017 we will see what I most anticipated as the Android physical keyboard device.
Yeah,
never heard about a company that's not making any more devices that release 2 devices.
Yeah, I think I said it last time. That's what one of the guys at the office said, with a kind of a na. I said I got a G note. Says you're wrong. So
I was actually amazed at how many people, because like around here in my real life, obviously, I have a real life. This isn't something that we do as a career. This is something we do as a hobby. But I'm still known as the BlackBerry guy. And, how many people were coming up to me going, oh, I'm sorry, you're not going to have BlackBerry anymore. And it's like, in just a couple of weeks, there's going to be a new one. And not only is there going to be a new one, it's going to be an all-touch premium device that so many people have been complaining that BlackBerry really hasn't had. Most of our all-touch devices, going back, the last one, you look at the Z30 was like the last one that you would really consider a flagship at the time, right?
Yeah, even then, I think, Brad, it would have been a mid to mid-high tier spec.
Yeah, when you look at the other platforms. So, we're finally getting that premium device. And, it's getting all of the things that everybody's been asking for that I, for one, haven't been. But, it's getting the fingerprint scanner. It's getting the glass back. It's getting all the all the little bells and whistles that the other companies promote that, I mean, honestly, I've always said that's stupid. Why would you want it? But they're answering that group of people that have wanted those things this whole time.
Yep, absolutely.
Not that great, but
I think that BlackBerry is just taking their hand and wiping off the table of all of the people who were clamoring for something like that or sniveling that it didn't exist. It's just like, okay, here's a device that just scrapes you all off the table. Now you can all shut up, buy one, or shut up, because here it is.
and don't you think too that they kind of, I mean, I don't know if this was planned or not, but I mean, the problem with the DTEC 50, and I think really the only problem with the DTEC 50 is that everybody just kept saying it's a rebranded idol. You know, that's the only thing anybody recognizes it as when you get outside of like our world is it's a rebranded idol. They just rebranded another phone. Now the DTEC 60 is again based on an Alcatel phone, but it outspecs the Alcatel, right?
Yes, it does.
So I mean, you can't really just say it's rebranded. You can say, okay, sure, it's you know, it looks like it, but it's better. You know, that was the problem I had with the DTEC 50 is that, you know, you're out there pushing the fact, and it is a fact, that BlackBerry's software is better. You know, it's more secure. You'll get the updates. It is just better. But people that don't care about BlackBerry, they don't care about the software, that's not enough for them. You know, hey, I could go out and get the Idol 4 and I'll get, you know, a pair of VR goggles. Well, yeah, so that's worth your online identity. Sure. You know, that's the choice that they're making. But now when you hold up, it's the Idol 4S, right? When you hold up the Idol 4S and the DTEC 60, there will be a recognizable difference between these phones, and the better phone's going to be the BlackBerry.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I'm very interested in the audio aspect of it. That's for sure. Said it before a million times. I really miss using the Z30 every day because that was just awesome for that. But anyway, I would love to get my mitts on one. And let's talk about that and the difference between it and the keyboard unit that BlackBerry wants to bring out next year. What do you guys think about the difference in specs and the difference between it and a Passport? Apart from the OS, obviously.
I'm surprised at how many people are questioning what OS it's going to have on it.
It's going to be
question there. Yeah, exactly. We know it's Android, so I'm kind of shocked to see how many people and channels are going, well, which OS is it going to have?
It will be.
Yeah, and they sound just like that, Brad.
That's how I hear them.
Yeah. Or something.
But we love our commenters, so please keep commenting.
No, let me break in for that for a minute, because right now, again, we've said it 1,000 times. This is the year of Android. We know that no decisions being made on BlackBerry 10 until, you know, that these two updates come out. We know that these two updates are taking a lot longer than anyone said. You know, I'm just repeating myself over and over. But it's really frustrating that every time we have news for something that honestly we should have expected all this time about an Android BlackBerry, there's like 5 people in the comments going, what about BB10? What about BB10? It's like, dude, I understand. We all love BB10 too. We all want BB10 stuff, but we know what's holding it up. So it's just like, if you see one of your friends with a bruise, do you keep going up and pressing it every 5 minutes?
Yeah. But that's different.
Yeah, but you're a jerk, Dave. We all know that.
Yeah,
I'm so glad that I'm not your friend.
Does that still hurt? Can you hear me now?
Well,
Okay.
I noticed that there's a lot of people that are, especially, I guess I would say more of the more BlackBerry users that are actually waiting for the keyboard device as opposed to the all touch device. I for one am going to get both. But from what I've been seeing, there are more people that want the keyboard device. And like Brad was saying earlier, I think the all touch device is more of a BlackBerry saying, okay, for those who said that we can't do a device like this, here's a device like this. And like Dave said, either buy it or shut up because we just put out this device now. So your move.
And BlackBerry keeps doing that. They keep creating a new form factor for whatever people are asking for, and people don't seem to understand that that's what they're doing.
Exactly. I don't get it with some people. To me, slabs are boring. I like to see a differentiation in hardware, and BlackBerry is actually one of the only ones, if not the only one, that's actually doing that by providing the physical keyboards on phones. So personally, I don't see why so many people are against that, or why so many people like the same old boring slabs. But that's just me, I guess.
I think that the physical keyboard by BlackBerry with Android is what BlackBerry had to do like 3 or 4 years ago, because most of the users that ran away from BlackBerry ran away to Android, but they still have the physical keyboard. And now BlackBerry give them the real keyboard with the Android. The keyboard on the Priv is good, but it's not the same on a physical keyboard only device. And this is my next device, and it's gonna be great.
That's true. You hear a lot of people remembering, there's two things they say when they talk about their old BlackBerry is the trackball and the keyboard. And it's like, dude, I hated the trackball. Well, no, I loved the trackball until the trackpad came out. Then I hated the trackball. Who wants to wash their balls, right? So the trackpad was better. And now we've got, we've got the Priv. What happened? We've got the Priv, and all these BlackBerry users are going from the Passport to the Priv, and they're complaining about the keyboard. I'm sorry, the Priv's keyboard is awesome, unless you're coming from a Passport. I mean, it's a different world. That Passport keyboard is just, you can't compete with it. You really can't. So, I mean, if you were going from BBOS or any of the old BlackBerries that anybody remembers, or the Classic, or, the Q10, or the Q5, the Priv keyboard's great.
Or the Torch.
But you get all these people complaining about it because of the Passport. And I get that.
I agree with you, Brad. The Passport keyboard is awesome, and it's one of the main reasons why I can't seem to put the device down. Which is why I actually have 2 SIM cards, so I could use my Passport and my Priv at the same time. But if you are coming from a device that's not the Passport, yes, the Priv keyboard is amazing, and I love it. I love the Priv keyboard. Passport keyboard is better, yes, but I love the Priv keyboard. I don't find anything wrong with it. I was just speaking to a friend of mine. His name is in a BBM group. His name is Romeo. Shout out to Romeo. And he we were having a discussion about the Priv keyboard, and he was saying how do I consider myself to have large hands, which I actually do, because he was saying he was having so much trouble typing on the Priv keyboard, and I don't see what his problem is. I have large hands also, and I can type on the Priv keyboard just fine. So,
What did he have? Old BlackBerry phones?
No, he actually he has I believe he did have some old BlackBerry phones. He has the Classic. He has a Passport. He had the Z10. He had the Z30. Now he has the Priv, which him and I speak about the Priv a lot. Him and I were also speaking about the D-Tech 50 because he wanted to give that a shot. And he's definitely going on to the D-Tech 60. But he was just saying he was having too much trouble typing on the Priv keyboard. I don't get it. I fly on this thing, and I have big hands.
It took a while. It really did. And I mean, that's you just can't compare it to the old BBOS keyboards. And there's so many people that say, "Oh, I can't type on that. It's too small." But it's like, dude, you used to use a bold. This dwarfs a bold keyboard.
Yes.
I will say, just as far as the physical design, the classic keyboard is better with its ridges. I like the classic keyboard better, the clickiness, this and that, but the classic keyboard doesn't have that capacitive function that the Priv does. So, I mean, I would choose the Priv over the classic, but just for sheer button pressing enjoyment, the classic's great.
Yeah, I agree. If the classic had that capacitive keyboard, oh man, I'd still be using the classic today.
You know what? I'm going to cut into the conversation real quick because Brad talks too much. But I saw in our is that
Who's that?
someone's right is here. But I saw in comments before that someone was talking about oh, it's great that you guys have the live chat going and this and that, and I had no clue what they were talking about. I don't think any of us knew what they were talking about. And it turns out there's a live chat on our blogcast on YouTube. So we figured that out last week after it was over. And so now we're actually looking at it. I see Roy's in there and I'm in there. Sir Leo's in there scrolling his balls. So, hey, if anybody wants to jump in and chat, there's a live chat that we didn't know about until last week when it was too late.
Excellent. So does anybody care about the spec difference between the two upcoming devices?
The Mercury will be, or DTX70 or whatever they're going to call them, it will be a mid-range. Oh, no, not the mid-range. I saw the specs. It has a 8-core something Snapdragon. It's going to be between the mid-range to high end.
Yeah, is it a 600 series CPU?
It's
You want me
I
to
think,
check?
I think it's a Snapdragon. I think it's the 652. I believe
Yeah,
it is.
something
I think
like
it's the Snapdragon 652, and it is it's octa-core, 652. I think it's going to have an 18 megapixel camera on it. I believe I remember reading that. Not sure if it's going to be the same exact one as the Priv or not. But it is going to have an 18 megapixel back-facing camera and 8 megapixel front-facing camera.
And
Include the flash on that.
And they have a finger scanner that is a patent of BlackBerry. It's not the regular finger scanner like all the other Android devices, because it's a scanner on physical keyboard. So it's gonna be interesting.
I've had a finger scanner for years. It's all those other people that piss me off on when I'm driving. Those guys are finger scanners. Yeah.
What's interesting that the DTX60 already appeared in one of the biggest electronic stores in Europe for pre-sale. It's something that we didn't saw with the DTX50, and it's nice to see that BlackBerry giving up about the carriers that just.
I think that's the only way they have to control their security anymore. I really do. And I mean, I don't know if it's a worldwide problem like it is in the US, but the US carriers are full on bottlenecking these updates. And I really think here in the US market, that's BlackBerry's only shot. Now, I was shocked to see that Verizon, who is the absolute worst, you know, they're the #1 carrier, but they are the absolute worst at pushing out updates, not just for BlackBerry, but for everyone, has apparently agreed to allow the Pixel to get their updates directly from Google. I wonder what kind of deal that came from. But that,
I don't get it. They should all be shot for not allowing the proper security to endpoints.
When you have a Canadian shoot someone and donuts aren't involved, that should tell you how bad it is.
I think with this, Trump should appoint you to vice president if you want to shoot people.
Okay, look. You know what? I'm not even going to explain myself. Not even going to go there. You know what I meant, and yes, I'm the target of the joke. Fine.
But it was the only option for Verizon to sign this deal with Google, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I just seriously don't think it should be allowed that a carrier stifles security for endpoints. It should be illegal.
Yeah,
You shouldn't be allowed to stop that.
BlackBerry should do what they did with the unlocked factory device from AT&T. They need to do it with all devices around the world, no matter which carrier you're on.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point in even engaging with these people to get devices in hand if all they're going to do is make the experience more miserable? I mean, I fail to see any point of customer satisfaction. I fail to see any business reason to stifle
it has to be contractual in nature. It has to, because I mean, you look at it, these are the phones that Verizon sold. These are the phones that AT&T sold. Meanwhile, you can go get an unlocked phone and run, well, you can't run them on Verizon's network because they're using 20-year-old tech, but you can run them on AT&T, you can run them on T-Mobile, you can run them on all these different things, and it's not bringing their networks down, right? So there's no reason for them to take 6 months testing this on their network when they've already got the devices running on their network through these unlocked devices that other people have purchased. So what they've done is they've made it to where, like, going forward, they won't get to test these devices at all on their network. People are just going to stick the SIM card in and use it. Their whole argument is voided.
Exactly. It's completely useless.
You know, another thing Verizon does, and my good buddy Meanest Genius points this out. I see a lot on Phone Arena. If you have an unbranded, what they call the universally unlocked phones, which are supposed to be able to work on any network, CDMA and GSM, Verizon will actually block you from being able to use a lot of their network features, like if they have Wi-Fi calling or voice over LTE. Verizon will actually block that.
Your carrier disabled Wi-Fi calling or things like that to. In Israel, every carrier give you full options. There's no limitation about anything.
Oh no, here in the U.S., yes, Verizon disables certain features if you don't have a Verizon branded phone that's approved by Verizon. If you have a universally unlocked phone, or if you purchase an unlocked CDMA phone off the internet somewhere, Verizon will block carrier features like voice over LTE and Wi-Fi calling.
Isn't that really hilarious? You're giving them the same amount of money as the guy sitting next to you. You're giving them, and
and you're giving them more money than their competitors.
Yeah, and they're blocking it, which is easy to do, either based on IMEI or MAC address or whatever. However they want to stifle you. If it's not in their database, they just don't let you have these features. And what kind of totalitarian, backwards thinking, non-customer oriented company wants to do something like that? Like, why are they shooting themselves in the foot? They get this monthly income. The recurring revenue is what you want, not just the device sale. You should be openly asking people to run to your network and have all these toys and pay your whatever it is a month, which is less than we pay here, more than likely.
Yeah, it's I find it hard. I mean, I'm amazed that they actually do this, but they do it, which really lends to defeating the purpose of having a universally unlocked phone, so to speak. I mean, sure, you'll be able to use it on that network, but my thing is, what's the use if you can't take advantage of the phone network features, which is usually GSM route, because GSM carriers usually don't block features, from what I understand. But Verizon will definitely do it, and it sucks. And they're the largest carrier in the U.S. And I don't understand. I don't understand that because they, like you said, they really have a totalitarian attitude about the way they do business, and it just sucks. It really sucks.
AT&T blocks. If you have any sort of unlimited data plan, they will block you from tethering or hotspot.
Oh yeah. You're absolutely right. Which sucks also.
Yeah.
That definitely sucks. And now the FCC is finding who was it that fined T-Mobile? Somebody fined T-Mobile. I think it was the FCC.
I think it was.
They've recently fined T-Mobile over their unlimited plans, but I think it may have more something to do with the way T-Mobile says it's unlimited, and then they swallow you after a certain amount. So it really isn't unlimited.
The whole thing should be abolished. I mean, can you imagine going to an appliance place, buying a new stove, and plugging it in, and your power company saying, "Oh no, we're only going to give 90 volts to that thing because it's the wrong thing. We're only we're not going to give it 110 volts. Oh no." The power company gives power to things that you buy.
Yeah.
The carrier should give your data to the thing that you buy. You buy a car. You don't go to a particular gas station because all the other gas doesn't work or whatever. What the hell? It's a utility, and they shouldn't have these kinds of restrictions based on the device that you have. Sure, CDMA stuff only works with CDMA stuff. I get that. Get your head out of the 90s, whatever. But if you want to be that way, go ahead. But when it comes to features and services, come on.
Yeah,
it's completely ridiculous, and the cable company doesn't care what kind of TV you plug in. Come on.
Because the TV company don't sell you the TV.
They can. Certain ones do, but they actually don't care which one you bought or plugged in. DSL companies, ISPs, they don't care what kind of computer you've got. They don't care. It doesn't matter, and it shouldn't matter.
I'm actually surprised that no one has come who has the ability to regulate this hasn't stepped in and said, no, you can't do this. I'm shocked about that, unless they're getting some type of money from it or kickback from it as well.
That's just it. Every as we're seeing now in our current election, there's a lot of money trading hands to keep things running in this very inefficient way. So I mean, look at all the trouble that's going on right now with the cable boxes. They're wanting to make it to where the cable companies can't be the only ones producing these cable boxes, and I really think because that keeps being the example they're throwing out that that Apple and Google can create these cable boxes and compete with the cable companies on them. So it's probably Apple and Google pushing this legislation to stop these cable companies from doing it. But it's turned into a huge battle, and it's like, enough already. It doesn't make sense this way. If somebody else can make a cable box that will connect to our cable and connect to our TV and provide a quality service and a quality product, let them do it.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen? You're going to have basically an iPod dock from Apple that blows up on your nightstand and runs out of juice when you're 5 minutes away from the last, episode.
Well, it's just a random alarm clock. Anyway, it's anti-competitive, I think, and it's self-defeating. It shouldn't be happening, and the other utilities aren't like that. So this wireless telecommunications is the last stronghold where they're trying to keep everything for themselves, and it just doesn't work that way anymore. That game should be so over.
So at least for BlackBerry, it's good that they are sending updates directly to the phones unless you're really on Verizon or AT&T.
Right. I'm
that's
happy.
something that was really confused by a lot of people too, because AT&T has
Good point.
they told us that they were working on a fix for all these branded AT&T phones that made it out to the market that wasn't sold by AT&T, right? We knew they were working on that for some time, and they've come up with the fix, and the fixes are going to treat them as if you bought that phone from BlackBerry or Amazon. It's an unlocked phone. It's going to get the updates directly from BlackBerry. But I've seen all over the channels and all over the web where people are like, "Yay, AT&T! We're going to start getting our updates directly from BlackBerry." We're not.
No.
I'm not. What's that?
The fix. So no. So the fix is for
Specific phones.
for phones, not for users.
Yeah.
Not for
Yeah,
AT&T
in other
users.
words,
But I mean, even if I took this phone and I unlocked it, I went and got the unlock code and I jumped over to
Your
T-Mobile,
AT&T.
I wouldn't get the updates from
No.
BlackBerry.
anybody who bought a phone from an AT&T retail store is not included in that
Right.
plan, period. If you bought an AT&T unlocked phone off of whatever eBay, Amazon thingy, then you should be good to go as long as it was new, because if Brad sold his on eBay, whatever.
Yeah,
it has to be
forever.
that kind of sourced phone, not originally from an AT&T retail location. Anything else works.
Speaking of AT&T, you guys are aware that they're in talks to buy Warner Brothers and Time Warner Cable and all that stuff. Well, Time Warner is now Spectrum. Time Warner Cable is now Spectrum, but they are in talks to buy Warner Brothers and Time Warner itself.
It's a pretty big
Ooh.
nut.
Yeah,
That's what she said.
AT&T.
It's a huge
Want to buy
media,
Warner Bros?
a huge media corporation.
So no movie updates to the correct point.
Yeah, right. They'll only ever put out the first movie, and they'll never have a sequel.
Oh God, we're gonna be stuck with Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
forever.
that's right. You never have, number two. Just okay, that came out wrong.
So
Okay,
so
that
no
came out
Space Jam 2.
Yeah.
Okay, Erica, what's next on the docket there?
Change the subject.
Why don't we talk a little bit more about the contest going on in forums?
Well, it's not much of a contest, but it's a little contest. The person with the most posts, quality posts, or the IM posts, just real posts. We don't want people going in and going, "Hi, there's a post. Hi, there's another post. Give me your pin. There's another post." You go in there and you ask for someone's pin, we're deleting you. But the person that most active, however you want to say it, the most verbose person in the forums for the month of October gets a little UTB kit, which is our Don't Be an Idiot coffee mug, our new UTB Blogs ink pin, and a sticker pack. So just some fun stuff.
So just to clarify, you could put one post in there with 12,000 words in it, but that would still be only 1 point, right?
Shut up, Dave. The point is to bring more people to the
just to be
forums.
clear, shut up, Dave would be 1 point.
1 point.
Yeah, but
In the
if you
forums,
didn't
yeah.
shut up, Dave, in 3 different posts, we're going to count that as 1 too.
Okay,
It's
so
quality
that's
post.
So you could win just by following Dave around the forums and telling him to shut up.
shut up, Dave.
Well, those might just be quality posts. Just saying.
Yeah. Wrong.
Okay, next
Okay,
up.
how about iPhone users not knowing what they're buying?
They know. what
Yeah.
they're buying.
I like that.
It's not good, but they know.
Well, earlier in the
Apparently.
week,
Yeah, go ahead.
let's start with the first part. Earlier in the week, we found out that the memory from the 32 gigabyte iPhone is a Snell compared to the memory in the larger iPhones.
Yeah.
So, somebody that went in, and this is important to me, and I think I even put this in the post. A lot of those people walking around with the 32 gigabyte iPhone 7s didn't buy them. AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, everybody did this down here where it is trade in your iPhone and get an iPhone 7 for free, where they basically just paid the tax. And what they were getting was a 32 gigabyte iPhone. Well, now we find out that Apple skimped on the memory, and these people now have phones that are nowhere near the speed of the larger iPhones. So that's the first part.
That sucks.
Sucks to be them.
And, yeah. And so there's, I guess, not really two versions of that, but that's just all across every 32 gig iPhone, right?
Yes, that's across
yeah.
all the 32 gig.
That's
iPhone
right.
7s.
Okay, so and then to pile on to that, because everybody loves to pile on, there are two distinctly different versions of iPhone 7 and 7 Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And they each have a completely different modem in them. And one modem is made by Intel and the other modem is made by Qualcomm. And apparently, depending on where you buy your iPhone, and you can tell the difference by the actual part number, because they were, I don't know whether it was smart enough or stupid enough to use two different part numbers. The part numbers with 6s in them have the Intel modem in them, and they are much crappier than the Qualcomm units that have part numbers with 7s in them. And if you're having a little bit of a weak signal or whatever, the Qualcomm based modem is 75% or something like that better than the Intel unit. So kind of like the memory thing that Brad was talking about, the Intel based, like if you had an Intel based 32 gig iPhone 7, then you've got the slowest cart on the racetrack. It's not a good place to be. And I'm not sure why Apple, I've seen them do this in the past, but I don't really know why they split up the parts between these two companies. Maybe they thought they'd see, which one was better. Well,
it's blown up in their face each time they've done it too. Every time they've pieced out their parts. If you recall, what was it, the MacBook that had the screens that were splitting open?
Right.
And there's something else they did earlier on another iPhone. So the question is there any way for users to find out, short of buying the phone, I guess? Check
the part number out.
Can they do that before they buy it?
Well, I would. I'd ask to see the thing, open the box, look at it, and the part number. The part number would be on the SKU when you're buying it.
Is it?
All you got to do is scan it. Any part number that has a bunch of 6s in it is the wrong one. That's Intel. Any part number that has a bunch of 7s
has
in
every
it.
Part number listed on it?
No, the part number of the phone.
Okay.
If the part number has 6s in it, it's Intel. If the part number has 7s in it, it's Qualcomm.
So they should take all those 6s phones and make sure that those go to Apple employees.
Yeah, they're the devil. 6, too many 6s. Something like that. Just that's my association. 6 is bad. It's bad.
How is
7,11? That's good.
How is Apple allowed to constantly get away with stuff like this from a user standpoint or from a consumer standpoint? Why do consumers who purchase these products continue to purchase these products if they know that stuff like this has happened? And I mean, we all know this stuff is happening. It's been happening. iPhones have had problems with signals forever. Antenna gate. I mean, people know this. People know that Apple sucks with hardware. They suck with software. Why do consumers continue to purchase this stuff? It's beyond me. Why is no one holding Apple accountable? Why aren't consumers saying, you know what? Here's how I'm going to hold Apple accountable. I'm not buying your stuff until you fix this crap.
There is
Because of-
literally a consumer generation out there, not an age generation, but a consumer generation out there that fully believes Apple is top of the line tech. And they won't even look at other products and see that they are typically 2 to 3 years behind in terms of tech. They don't believe it. They think that they have a top of the line high tech product. They just won't believe any other thing.
No, it's true. You'd think that all of these people would herd together and put together a class action lamb suit. But no.
Wow, that was good. Wow.
Oh well. What can you do?
I don't get it. I would never buy this stuff. I would never. I would look and I would go, you know what? No. And I purchased iOS products before, but as I've learned how crappy they are, I stopped doing it.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? This sucks. There's no way that I can continue to buy this stuff as long as it sucks like this. As long as the hardware is crappy. As long as the software is crappy. I mean, with every iteration of iOS that comes out, there's a slew of updates that follow it because something is always broken on the phone, and
And then
this
fix the
update has
update,
to
then
fix
fix
that
the
update.
update.
Yes, and it's like it's like wash, rinse, repeat, and people continue to go for that. I don't understand it. I truly don't understand it. I really don't.
Marketing, baby.
And
Nothing like
That's
it.
Apple's true product. It really
Yeah.
is. That is
Nothing
the
like
one
it.
thing that they are amazing at and unparalleled by is their marketing.
Yep.
It just amazes me how people just will blindly believe anything that's put before them. They'll will blindly believe, oh, well, Apple said such and such, so that's got to be true. And real world tests, real world usage. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. It infuriates me that people fall for this stuff time and time and time and time again. It really infuriates me. And Apple has the money to be able to pull out a stellar product.
Yes,
that
they do.
could probably destroy everything on the market if they put in the time to research and development. They have the money for it. They have the money to put out an amazing product, and they don't do it.
It is common knowledge that they held back tech on the iPhone 7 because they want to put it into the 8 for their anniversary model. It is just known. There's no question about it that they held back on stuff that they could do right now. It's like, hey, let's go wireless. Wireless is the bomb. We don't want a headphone jack. But yeah, we're gonna wait on wireless charging for the next, the anniversary edition. What really bothers me, though, what kills me, what amazes me, and I'll say something a little bit cryptic here, but people that actually know the crap the iPhone is and what other people can produce are using iPhones right now. There are people within our own little community here, within our own little BlackBerry community, who are using iPhones now and are still pretending to be part of the BlackBerry community. It's extremely frustrating. And to those people that switch from BlackBerry to Android, I kind of want to shake them because it's like, look, you've got a BlackBerry Android. You got everything you loved about BlackBerry in an Android, but you jump to another Android device. But at the same time, I mean, like, I want to shake them. But the people that jump from BlackBerry to Apple, they're just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, like, honestly, I don't know another way to put it. Like, I don't look at them and want to shake them. I want to, like, look at them and just kind of shake my head in disgust, honestly.
I agree. I totally agree. I honestly totally agree. And to those of you who have actually jumped from BlackBerry and are now using an iPhone, we know who you are. You're not fooling anyone. And it to me, it's just ridiculous. You know how inferior the product is. You know it. You absolutely know it. You also know that Apple can make a better product. but you choose to support the inferior product. I don't get it. I don't get it.
There was a danger with BlackBerry going into Android, and that is that BlackBerry users will fall for the very thing that Android users have been pushing all along, which is the spec war. That is what Android OEMs have to fight with, is the spec war. Who's got the greatest specs? Who's got this? Who's got that? And people that have fallen for that, you know, obviously the Priv wasn't the premier in terms of specs when it came out in the Android world. The DTEC 50 obviously wasn't. So, I mean, I can kind of understand people. It's like, okay, BlackBerry's going Android. I'm going to go Android. Oh, look, this phone's got a higher number of this and this phone's got a higher number of that. I'm going to jump over to that. And I can almost understand it, even though, I mean, honestly, I still want the BlackBerry experience. But people that jump to the iPhone, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid. Don't fall for the Baba Black Sheep marketing.
Am I
Come
right
on.
in saying that 2 years ago I wrote an article saying 10 things a BlackBerry can do that an Apple iPhone can't? And one of the thing was, hey, come on, it's 2014 and you can't reply to an email with an attachment. That, I think, is still true. Is it still true with the stock?
No, you can actually, you can do that, and it's nowhere near as simple as it is on an Android or a BB10 device. But I've got a friend who works at Apple, and I'm not talking an Apple store. I mean, he rides in the elevator with Tim Cook, and we got into that discussion like that. And this was around that time where I was saying, like, look, you can't even do this. And the funny thing is, he got back to me with the fact that they could do it. But he got back to me the next day because he had to find out how to do it.
Right. Well, then,
and Dave,
therefore,
I know you
it's
know
not there.
Dave, I know you know who I'm talking about
Yeah.
and where his position is in the company. And for the fact that he had to come back to me the next day to show that they could do it, that should say a huge amount about how Apple users use their iPhones. They use them as readers.
Yeah, by far
They don't
the bulk
use
of
them
people
as
are
a mobile
trained.
device.
They're trained to just create a new email and send it to you with the attachment. That's how they're trained to do it, which is worthless.
Most of them are trained to read the email and wait till they get back to their laptop to reply to it.
Fair enough. Whatever. Such old.
So welcome to the UTB Applecast.
Yeah. Whatever. Poor buggers.
I think we changed subject.
Go for it, right?
I'm just glad I coined a new phrase.
BlackBerry announced new API for chatbots.
Okay, explain to me chatbots, because to me, when I hear about a chatbot, I've never really used one, but when I hear about a chatbot,
how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing? Oh, I don't know.
Exactly. A BBM chatbot tells me that this is somebody that wants to use BBM that has no friends. Where am I wrong? What does it do?
Okay, BBM chatbots, for if you don't know, it's a chat with a robot. Okay.
So we're
thanks for that.
And companies, okay, because I saw some comments about people that didn't know even this, and companies can use it as a service if you want to get a service like from AT&T, and you can talk with a chat robot without calling them on the website, without waiting in the call center or wherever you get your service, and companies can use it to sell, to help. And imagine that you are working for some big enterprise and you need some help, and you go to the chatbot and you click like, what I need to do if I stuck, and he answered you, and you get the answer without sending messages to all your friends and your boss and things like that. Or even if you want help to arrange your travel to let's say Europe, and you ask the chatbot what is the best deal for traveling Manchester between December 21 to December 23, and it will give you all the information you need without really entering any site and start clicking and searching whatever you need.
Yeah,
It's
and
good.
correct me if I'm wrong, Roy, but I think, excuse me, I read that from an advertising point of view, you know, if you were to be on BBM channels, let's say, and a company, excuse me, on their BBM channel would have something advertised there, you could click on that link and you could get some information, and this would be your interaction with the bot.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to escalate that, then you might get connected to a call center of some sort, which may be an electronic form factor via email, or SMS, or even BBM if they were so enabled through the API, application programming interface.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No.
Well, people don't know that. I know what an API is, and some people don't. But anyway.
I was waiting to ask the bot.
Yeah. Hey, bot, what's API? I don't know.
If you want an
No, I don't know.
application.
Anyway, so the deal is you could be advertising a product through BBM on a channel, whatever, and click on a link and get some more information and actually make the decision to buy and get escalated to talk to a live human being, or however the transaction gets completed.
I will add that chatbots are all rules. You can make rules for chatbots or using an AI. So it will be interesting what BlackBerry will use. And Brad, if you want to see what is chatbots, you can download a BlackBerry 10 developer that developed for Android. It's called Instant from Amplify, and they use chatbots. It will be cool. It's cool because you can ask him how much I slept yesterday, and he say it to you. Imagine the Fitbit app, and
what about with who?
And you can enter the Fitbit app, and it will be very great that you can ask the chatbot who's first in the challenge without really enter the challenge screen itself, and you will say it's really a friend for people that don't have any friends.
That don't have friends. So exactly what we got back to. So here I am making fun of this. Meanwhile, my Amazon Dot is sitting at the post office here in town waiting to be delivered tomorrow.
I think at Amazon Dot, it's a little bit of chatbots because you can talk with him and he's doing stuff.
We do know, though, that the most requested thing on the BBM chatbot's going to be, what's your PIN?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my yank and stuff. Man tap.
Karen. Okay.
Now, I know that you don't want to return to talk about Apple, but Brad just posted a blog about Amnesty International. And,
we do talk about that.
This is my favorite subject of the day.
So
this is what we were supposed to lead with. Erica, take your nap better.
Hey, you're supposed to give me topics better.
I'm the new
I blame you.
anchor, and I take control about it. So, Erica, go to sleep.
You know what? I can just stop showing up. I don't have to be here.
Hey, we saw what happened when you stopped showing up last week, and we're all like, so what are we going to talk about? I guess 2 weeks ago. Sounded like the people asking about BB10 on our channel.
Hello.
We need one woman at the Blogcast because we are modern Blogcast, and we need women on our Blogcast.
Because the Blogcast can't be Sausage Party. So Amnesty International, first of all, why even publish this about messengers? That's a new one to me.
No wars, no people to feed.
Why did they do it? I'm guessing that they're, first of all, Amnesty International, give them some cred. I would have to think that they're a respected organization. They're multinational. They're interested in, the welfare of humankind. Overall, they're interested in the wrongs that are being done in certain areas and whatever. So you got to have respect for an organization like that, unless they're, they've been around for, I don't know how long, I don't know how many years, very long time. And so, I can't diss the organization at all. What I did do, though, and this was previous to Bigley pumping out what he pumped out this afternoon on the site for his blog, was do a little research this morning because, as usual, if something pisses me off, I got to go dig around. And I started digging around in basic, the person that said this. Now I got to go find it again because I closed the link. But the guy who put this statement out there, he is, in my opinion, he's talking about, there's 2 points here. He's talking about something that I don't think he's qualified to talk about because he's not technically oriented, even though if you look at his LinkedIn page, there's one word related to technology, but it doesn't have anything to do with like tech per se. It's like how it's used. And so I'm not convinced that he has the authority in any way, shape, or form to disseminate information in the way that he has put forth. It bothers me that he's insinuating that. It bothers me that he's saying the things that he's saying. Let me look up his name here. You guys go ahead and talk.
I completely lost track of what Dave was talking about. I have no clue what just happened.
Really?
Yeah. Where were we? Help me, guys. Help me. I don't know what just happened.
Okay. Anyway, did you guys read the report or look at it or even scope it out at all?
From Amnesty? Yeah, I read it. I included it in a portion of the blog. We lost Roy. I included it in a portion because to me, like when I first looked it over, I thought it was just a rehash of EFF. I don't even know how you pronounce that, but they're the ones that keep coming out and saying that BBM is not secure because it's not open source, which is completely ridiculous to me. But once I got to looking at it, because I did just do a quick skim through, I threw like a portion of it in the blog and put my thoughts on it. But number one, they weren't really talking about privacy. That is what like CBC kind of pulled from it. They were literally talking about encryption. And when you're talking about encryption, it's kind of true. I mean, like we can't sit here and say something that's not true. WhatsApp uses end-to-end encryption. Now Facebook Messenger uses end-to-end encryption. BBM does not use BBM end-to-end encryption by default. It doesn't. And I mean, I kind of got into a conversation with JP on our channel today. I don't think we should. I don't think Apple should. I don't think Facebook should. That is the heart of the encryption debate. It really is should they be putting this tool into the hands of everyone? Because what it ends up happening is that tool becomes a weapon for the never-do-wells, right?
Yeah.
It becomes a weapon of the criminal because privacy. We all have a right to security. We do not have the right to evade criminal prosecution, criminal investigation, and that is what they are doing. So, I mean, if you're speaking strictly encryption and you want to put encryption as the ultimate in security, and you're talking simply about the messengers, then yes, what they said, it's kind of true. You know, I mean, BlackBerry doesn't use this by default. There is a service that's there. We also have different privacy measures that these other messengers don't have. You know, we are protected from screenshots. We can have a chat that doesn't have our names associated with it that disappear, you know, if we don't talk for 30 seconds. We've got more tools than they do at our disposal to be private. But most importantly to me, more so than this private, you know, this message being 100% secure going from this phone to this phone, is the fact that just my messaging is secure. Because no matter how secure the message is in transit, it is only as secure as your device.
Yeah,
and we know the iPhone is not secure.
That's a fair.
You know, the regular.
That's a fair comment, and I'm sorry about that, but I found the guy's name. It's Sharif Al Sayed Ali, and this is the guy. He's the head of Amnesty International's Technology and Human Rights team, and he's the guy that, you know, got this report out there. I don't know if he put it together. I kind of doubt it. Again, when you look at his LinkedIn, he has zero history of any kind of technological background or anything like that. It's more socio-politico kind of education. I mean, we all learn as we go along, so maybe I'm not being fair. But anyway, what I also found is that he is absolutely, when the situation happened where the FBI wanted to get into that iPhone in California with the terrorism incident, he was absolutely with Apple. He absolutely was with Apple. And so as the more I read and the more I learned, there was an agenda here, which bothered me. So he's on that side of the camp. I am, you are, Brad, and others are on the other side of the camp. And so you could see, this is the first point, you could see how he would view BlackBerry's stance on helping law enforcement in whatever capacity it was, as long as they had a proper warrant, right? So that's point number one. Point number two was at the end of that report, you could see apparently that they had reached out to all 11 companies involved in the report that they were discussing. Excuse me. And of, you know, there were 3 companies that did not reply to their queries. One of those companies was BlackBerry. Don't remember the other 2. And so I get why BlackBerry wouldn't want to respond to this. They've got a lot larger, you know, horse in the race than somebody asking them these questions and having a reply like that. I could just smell another retort from BlackBerry coming soon. So the fact that BlackBerry did not respond means that they don't have enough information to properly place BlackBerry in that list, which was in the bottom 3, or I forget what it was. So, you know, strike 2 in my humble opinion. Yeah, where was I going with that? So there's another point there, but I'll bring it up in a minute.
You will wait with that. Our problem with WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or iMessage is not necessarily that they are encrypted. Our problem is that you can hack WhatsApp, you can hack iMessage, you can hack Facebook Messenger. Right. Your messages are maybe secure when you send it, but on your computer or device, on the other end, Facebook can read it, Apple can read it, WhatsApp can read it and do it whatever they want with your messages.
Right.
And for me, it's not secure. In the moment that there is one person that can use your messages or whatever you are doing on the platform, and it's not for law enforcement, it's not for police or any other things, it's not secure. Secure, it's when nobody read your messages and use it, and nobody can hack. correct me if I'm wrong, but nobody hacked to BBM.
No,
Correct? No.
no, it hasn't been hacked. I mean, there is a process to
The
get
Dutch
lawful
police.
access to it.
Yeah.
The Dutch police did not hack it.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I mean that. We need to bring this up because this is stuff that's out there that is false information. The Dutch police did hack a BlackBerry to get their messages. These are not BlackBerry standard phones. These are phones
No.
that have been altered and
Modified.
use an entirely different system than the BlackBerry system. And so they keep coming out and saying, "Oh, look, we hacked it," but it's like, okay, you didn't hack a BlackBerry phone. You hacked a BlackBerry hardware that's had another operating system put on it, right? Or not really put on it, but laid on top of it. So, I mean, number one, that's wrong. Number two, there is a way for lawful access, which, I mean, Chin has come forward and spoke about. This has come forward before with all of the India rules and the Egypt and Pakistan and all these other countries wanting unfettered access to our messages, and they're not getting them, and they're refusing to get them. But as Chin said in a blog post on Inside BlackBerry, that they do handle lawful access requests. They will give that information, and the information that they're giving is metadata, right? It's who and when. That's basically what it is. They're not getting the messages because our messages, regardless of what anybody says, it is encrypted during transit, but it is not end-to-end encryption, right? So there's a key. BlackBerry can get in and they can get that metadata and they can give that to the authorities via lawful access. Now, Apple says, we can't do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to go fight Congress. We're going to go fight the FBI, and we're just not going to do it because we don't want to spend the payroll dollars to have a division in our company that handles those requests. So
I'm waiting for the next fight between Trump and Apple. It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah. Once he's done with this criminal woman, then he can do it. But so I just, dang it, Roy, you got me off track.
Okay, well, my third point was touched on by Roy. He's obviously the disruptor. And that is that, disruptor. That is that you have to look at a company's business model. The business model of BlackBerry is to create products that are efficient, secure, with privacy, focus-minded applications, and safety and all the other things that they have going on for them. And that's what they do. If you look at the business model of Facebook, which is WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, then what they pretend, or they don't pretend, they tell you that they're doing end-to-end encryption here, but what they're not actually telling you is that everything about you is sold and your privacy is not private. Their business model is to sell every stinking bit of information about you that they possibly can for their own gains, and anybody who associates privacy with that kind of a business model needs to give their head a shake. And these are BlackBerry users, they're Apple users, they're Samsung users, they're every user out there.
Go ahead, because I want to jump in when you're done, because that was kind of my point too.
Right. It's just you have to look at the business model of what these companies are giving out there. You can't have Facebook Messenger with free encryption end to end and not think that you are going to be safe from somebody snooping in your stuff. You're out of your mind thinking that you get stuff like that for $0. BlackBerry's business model is, you have privacy and I'm not going to sell any of your information for any reason about anything. And if you want the next level up, then yeah, it costs you a little bit of cash. And still, we're not going to include, selling your information by, with those dollars that you give us, and none of this includes people on BES. Anybody who's on BES, has nothing to do with this conversation at all. It's just, you know. Anyway, go ahead, Brad.
Protected or BBM Enterprise, but
Yes.
yeah, because they keep saying that BBM is not secure because BlackBerry is willing to give this metadata over to the authorities. But we discovered within the last few months that even though iMessage uses this end-to-end encryption, they are still storing that same metadata. They're still storing it, which can be handed over to the authorities. So their whole argument, they've got the same information BlackBerry does. So that voids that. The second part of that is, I think Erica was the one that wrote the post. Facebook is selling information to buyers from those private message chats, right? The Nilssons was a public partner, was a public customer. We don't know how many non-public customers there are that's buying information from people's private chats from Facebook Messenger. Now, we know now, because Facebook's come forward and said this, I mean, if we take them at their word, that messaging is being encrypted going back and forth, right? It's the end-to-end encryption when it goes from Dave to Alpha. That message is encrypted in transit. And then it sits there. It sits there in the messenger. And my opinion is that they're raping the information from those messages wherever they end up or wherever they're sent from. Because how do you make a deal with a company saying, we're going to get you the information, and this was public, we're going to get you the information from their chat so you can use it in the case of Nilsson's to grade these programs and then turn around and make this information no longer available to them. How can they do it? They didn't do it. That information's still available to them. So, I mean, you really need to look at the whole situation. I feel safe with my BlackBerry Messenger. The bad guys aren't going to get in there. They're not going to get my messages. And if I suddenly do a violent crime against humanity, then that's my bad when the authorities issue a warrant and they find out that I talked to Dave last night. Right? That's my
Thanks
opinion.
for including me in your violent freaking situation, buddy. Yeah, I know what you're getting for Christmas. Big old lump of coal. That's what that is. Anyway, hopefully...
He was the one that said shoot people earlier, just saying.
Yeah. Violence, yeah. Anyway, I'd kind of like to think that we helped a few people in exposing some form of reality on that. You know, to recap, I don't get it. There's somebody organizing some information that I don't think has any business organizing the information, because I'm not convinced that they have the technical authority to do such. And then the business aspect of it is pretty clear, as far as I'm concerned. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, that there was something there that was bought and paid for. I have no doubt in my mind that there wasn't something there that was bought and paid for.
Yeah, well, he's obviously a big Apple fan and swallowed the apple juice, and you know why, right? You know, you can tell how, and let's face it, you know, like we've been drinking blackberry juice. We know that, right? Our articles are bent that way, so. But I just don't see that he has the technical qualifications to say the things that he's saying. To me, it's debunk.
Here's my issue with the whole thing. I don't care if he drank the apple juice or what.
Or the rum and coke.
To do it under the umbrella of Amnesty International.
Mm-hmm.
That is outside the scope of the purpose of that organization. So yeah. I don't think that was appropriate, and for that reason alone, anything that's reported on that level is, as far as I'm concerned, just invalid. Even if it's true, even if there is some sort of basis to what he's saying as far as with the encryption and the privacy and security of it all, the fact that it was done with that moniker attached to it just completely, it offends me.
Yeah.
Can I play devil's advocate to Erica real quick?
Go ahead. You love playing devil's advocate to me.
I bet you what their reasoning behind this is oppressive governments. Not their reasoning, but their argument. Oppressive governments and people needing to be able to communicate without that oppressive government getting their information. But here is my argument against that.
Okay.
Number one, these oppressive governments can shut those services down. So, I mean, how many times has Brazil shut down WhatsApp? They just click, boom, it's off. So those oppressive governments, WhatsApp isn't going to save somebody trying to get out of the country. It's not going to happen. And then at the same time, we've watched as BlackBerry has fought with India, has fought with Pakistan, and turned around and said, we're just going to take our services out of your country if this is what you demand. That, to me, puts BlackBerry at number one, right there. Amnesty International should be bowing down before BlackBerry for actually standing by their principles, as opposed to, Tim Cook standing before Congress saying, don't make me break my program.
Yeah, and it's not even like that. That's what they'd have to do is make a universal backdoor. That was such a crock, that statement.
Yeah, you can enter the iPhone from the front door. You don't need the back door for.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You know damn well they can take any iPhone into Apple's HQ and get into it. Don't tell me you can't do that. What a crock.
Apple lets Facebook take every single second of a user's personal information, from their location to their messages to listening to them throughout the day. That's through the front door. Facebook, here, have my user, have every single part about my user. Take it, Facebook. Oh, the U.S. government, you want to get into, a terrorist phone that killed people? Sorry, we're not going to help you. That is the biggest load of bullshit I have ever heard in my entire life. And now I'm getting frustrated, but because we keep having this argument where people in our channels are like, oh, but Apple's good because they're not getting in. It's like, dude, all it takes is cash. That's what the U.S. government should have done. They should have just created an app that steals all of your information and loaded it on the iTunes store. There'd be no problem, because Apple will freely give it to somebody that's got, that's buying it freely. They have no problem giving every bit of a user's information to Facebook, every last minute of it. But don't come asking for information on somebody that's killed people. Don't even dare.
Wasn't iMessage just recently hacked again, or is that's the same hack from August?
Yeah, it was hacked again. It's the same hack from August that Apple hasn't done anything to fix.
Yeah.
That's how secure they are.
Yeah, and when you talk about iMessage being encrypted end-to-end, don't forget that you could easily be talking to the other end on SMS.
Yeah.
And by default, until you go in and turn it off, it's all backed up to the iCloud that is not encrypted end-to-end.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's the sequel of the August hack. So basically, if Time Warner Bros. Were buying Apple, so the iMessage were not being hacked because there are no sequels. Yeah, and we finished to talk about the iMessage.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah. So, for the last 2 weeks, we are, I don't want to say fighting, or managing our UTB to be the only real fan site in the web, and I'm not including BayRail.com because we are in Hebrew and nobody speaks Hebrew besides me and people in my country.
I can learn.
Yeah, it's too hard.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Believe me. And we talked about the negative in my podcast and on Brad podcast about the people that talking negatively about BlackBerry because they don't have BlackBerry 10 and BlackBerry don't doing whatever they want, and it's BlackBerry 10. And UTB is the place for BlackBerry 10 users, for Android with BlackBerry device, and we have all you need. We have a weekly blogcast that you see right now. We have my podcast. We have Brad ones, and we always thinking what we can do better and what else we can do to make it better site. And if you're really a BlackBerry fan, don't go to the other side that talk negative. Come here and join our forums or comment on our post blogs and make Brad happy because look how it looks. You're gonna suicide.
I'll be honest. It's a lot of us are really busy right now. A lot of us really are. I know my job has switched up a lot, and I have just a fraction of the time I used to have to work on everything. And I know the same kind of goes for most of us here. And it's funny how it all piles up for everybody all at once. So, if there are any community contributors that would like to jump in and help out, we're always open for that. Our other site, our sister site, UTB Geek, has really been put on the back burner. I don't think I've really posted anything besides podcasts this last week on the site. And I think Erica and myself are the only two that really have been posting on that site. And I know that we're both buried right now. So, if you want to join in on the Geek side, if you want to join in on the blog side, we're always here. We're always open. We're trying to bring new things to the site. And what Roy was talking about and what he spoke about in his last one-man podcast and what I spoke about in my one-man podcast after I followed him, as I tend to do apparently. We set forward to be the #1 BlackBerry fan site. And looking around our community over the past few weeks as the latest happenings of BlackBerry, I'm beginning to think we're not only the #1 BlackBerry fan site, but the only BlackBerry fan site. So, hey, welcome to UTB Blogs. We're not going anywhere. We're not changing. We're not becoming a tech site or anything along those lines. Stick with us. We'll be here.
I disagree, Brad. I think we are going somewhere, and I'm thinking it's this direction.
I'm so glad that was your first finger. I really am.
Yeah. They only keep me here for the entertainment value. It's not for the education. Or something.
Do you have anything else tonight?
I don't.
Nope.
No, I don't.
No.
Let me out.
Okay, thanks for joining, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, let's say good night.
Good night. See you next week.
Good night,
See ya.
guys. Thanks.
See ya.